All right, we're going to be trying to predict what the UFC is going to look like a year from today. Today is June 23rd, 2025. So, June 23rd, 2026. What does the UFC look like?
Biggest thing going on right now in the UFC. This guy named Illia Topuria. This guy is putting together a streak of wins against not only some of the best opponents you can beat in the UFC, but some of the biggest fan favorite fighters, which is going to make him a star. And he's going to have future beefs with big stars that's going to propel him. And he's going to continue fighting these high level opponents. I think he's going to have a very short streak ahead that puts him up top 5 greatest of all time potentially, and probably top 2 biggest stars, maybe coming close to McGregor level. What do you think about that?
I mean, if he does what he's kind of on pace to do right now, I think it's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah.
I mean, he can go on one of the greatest. There's a thumbs up right there.
Thumbs up?
There's a thumbs up on the screen. Yeah. If he does what he's set out to do right now, he can go on one of the greatest streaks, potentially, I think, in UFC history. I mean,
100%.
You're gonna get into a little bit, but
It's insane. You got Volkanovski, pound for pound, either 1 or 2 at the time when he knocked him out. He's not only is he finishing. Oh, not only is he beating these pound for pound guys, he's finishing them. And Volkanovski's not only a huge pound for pound, one of the best not only is Volkanovski one of the greatest to ever do it, my greatest featherweight of all time, he's a huge fan favorite. So from a win like that, Topuria's getting the fame and he's getting the resume. And you have the same exact thing in his next fight, knocks out Max Holloway, one of the biggest fan favorite fighters, top 3 best featherweights of all time, top 4. And so you have the same thing there.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have him moving up in weight. He's having these massive stake fights against these pound for pound massive fighters. And he's moving up in weight now against Charles Oliveira, who I think this fight is a step down for Topuria in terms of pound for pound meaning. But it actually might not be because he's moving up a weight class. I think the opponent level is dropping, but with that, he's moving up in a weight class, which comes with new challenges. And having that 2-division champ is a huge boost to his resume, his legacy. And Charles Oliveira, one of the craziest, most famous fighters the UFC has. If you look at his Instagram impressions, he's getting hundreds of thousands of likes on all of his posts. If he posts something like that he actually puts effort into, he might get like 1 million likes on that thing. He's popping off on social media. People love him. So Ilya's fighting. He's got all these big wins, backing up his resume. He's finishing them, and he's got big fights in the future.
huge fights in the future.
Huge fights.
Oliveira this weekend, and if he wins that, and Islam wins in welterweight, he wants to make that fight happen.
Yeah.
Where
Where do you think that fight happens?
Where? When?
Do you think it happens at welterweight or do you think it happens at lightweight?
I mean, if Islam wins, I think it happens at welterweight because he wants to be the first 3-division champion. But who knows?
I feel like realistically,
there's a lot of moving parts to that. I think if they both win, it happens at welterweight, 100%. I think 100%
Really?
It happens at welterweight. Yeah.
I think realistically,
Otherwise, what's the point of making Islam go up to welterweight?
that's that brings me to my next point.
Oh.
I think realistically, there's a fight in between for both of them.
Okay.
Because I know Dana, I know the way he makes fights, and he's not just gonna have somebody vacate a belt. 2 champs vacate their belts, shift up, and then have one of them vacate his belt after he just got it. Knowing Dana, hear me out.
I'm here. Look, I'm hearing you.
Let's build this fight even more. Islam wins that. Islam takes a risk. He gets a fight. Topuria builds his legacy. Not his legacy. He builds his fame. He 100x's his fame by fighting Paddy Pimimblett, somebody who has a massive beef with. We saw this with Khabib. Khabib, he was like a normal fighter in terms of hype. He probably would have gone down, if he didn't have that McGregor beef, he probably would have been like a Volkanovski level of recognition from the fans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's one of the greatest, but there wasn't. I mean, he has the Russia fan base behind him, but there wasn't a lot of like, holy crap, everybody knows who Khabib is.
I wouldn't have cared.
That McGregor beef took him to the next level, and I think Topuria, he's not the biggest personality, so he needs a beef with somebody that has a huge personality like Paddy Pimblett to take him to the next level fame-wise. I think he does it. I think they're going to make, if Topuria beats Charles Oliveira, they're going to make Topuria versus Paddy Pimblett, Islam versus somebody at welterweight.
I hear what you're saying. Couple things. I mean, Topuria has more of a exciting fight.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Style?
word is.
He's
He's got a much more exciting fighting style than Khabib.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of brings in a little more of a draw than
That's true.
just going in and holding someone down.
That's
and
true.
then having zero trash talk, just kind of disappearing in between fights. Like
That's
he
true.
kind of disappears between fights, but when he's fighting, he's putting on a highlight.
Yep.
And I think, I don't know, if you push Islam up into welterweight and you have Topuria move up to lightweight, and they both win the belt, do you risk them losing the belt and then you kind of just wasted this? Or do you just make that fight, let that fight happen, and then go from there?
But this is when you have to ask yourself, is the UFC an entertainment business? Is it a sports business? Is this like a real sporting
It
league?
is an entertainment business.
Because that would suck if Topuria just went up to lightweight,
Mm-hmm.
vacated his featherweight belt. You have a vacant featherweight fight. Islam vacates lightweight belt. You have a vacant lightweight fight. Now you're gonna have a fight at welterweight. So you're saying you want to have another third fight as a part of this? 3 belt vacations to make one fight?
We just had Tom Aspinall defend an interim belt. I don't think really anything's off the table.
John Jones is gone.
John Jones is gone. I feel you got to make that happen because do you think Islam is able to defend his belt? Like who does he fight at welterweight if he wins? So he beats JDM right there.
He's
Beats
probably
JDM.
fighting a winner of Shavkat versus somebody. Yeah, there's gonna be a couple. I think there needs to be a couple title eliminator fights. Maybe I've heard Ian Gary versus Sean Brady is in the works. Probably winner of that. And I think Islam could beat either of those guys, if I'm being honest. Keep it on the feet against Sean Brady and knock him out. I think he could probably pull Ian Gary to the ground. It's hard. Ian Gary's got great takedown defense, so that fight's tough. But it definitely gets riskier.
But then what is also the potential of Islam losing to JDM and then having to fight Topuria back at lightweight? He comes back down.
It's the same thing. It's just like,
or do you think he just clears it?
I think it's the same problem. It's the same problem.
You think it make him fight Paddy?
I think they're both going to have at least one fight. Oh, we were saying if Islam loses?
If Islam loses, yeah.
If Islam loses, honestly, perfect situation.
Why?
Because then Islam will just move back down.
Right.
We saw that with Adesanya. He moved up. He lost to Polar Power. He just moved back down and went back to defending his belt.
Yeah, but you didn't have to vacate that belt.
But it's the same situation.
It's the same
He's not
thing.
gonna
But are you
stick
saying
around.
that? Are you saying that? Why is that better than you're just saying that you wanted there to be?
I'm
a
saying
fight
that
between-
because that's better because then Topuria doesn't have to vacate a belt for the fight to happen. Basically, what we're trying to say is Topuria is set up to be a megastar. I think up there with Conor McGregor. For my next prediction, I don't know if you agree with me. Feel free to disagree if you disagree.
I'm feeling free.
Okay? I think that in the next year, maybe the next couple months, we're already kind of there. The welterweight division is going to transition to the best division in the UFC.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. Traditionally, the best division in the UFC has always been lightweight and bantamweight, maybe featherweight. But we're seeing some of the best guys from those divisions retire, move around, and we're seeing a lot of hungry up-and-comers come up at welterweight. And what I really like about welterweight, they kind of had a thing going on that lightweight has, where the top 5 guys were these bums, these old guys, these unks, that were all kind of just fighting each other, sticking around. They were just there for a long time. You had Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman, 27, fighting each other 3 times. You got Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman fighting each other 3 times. You got all these rematches. You got
Masvidal
rematches.
rematching everybody.
These rematches that you don't need to see. All these old fighters just fighting each other over again, but they're fan favorite fighters. They're at the top. It's the same thing that goes on at lightweight, but lightweight's fighters are a lot more liked than the welterweight fighters. So no one really talks about this.
No complaints.
But what we've seen is these new guys come in and absolutely demolish all the older guys. You got Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales, smoked. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady, smoked. Colby Covington versus Buckley, smoked. All these old guys, except for one, have all gotten smoked by the new guys, and we're seeing a transition. We got these contenders. Number one, we got Bilal Muhammad. I mean, I don't want to talk about it. Okay, I think he's on his way out, if we're being honest.
Get him out of here.
But whatever. But let's look past that. Let's try and look past Bilal Muhammad. Number two, we have Sean Brady, phenomenal grappler, big streak he's on right now. Shavkat Rakhmonov, number three, amazing fighter. He needs to fight more. I've heard news he might be fighting soon. I got the insider information. Number four, Leon Edwards, he's on his way out. Number five, Kamaru Usman. This is what I like. Not only is he an old guy, you're like, old guy, that's bad. We want him out of there. Not this time. Pound for pound, this guy is one of the greatest fighters of all time. And he's proven he's still good. So you have all these new guys coming up making their names, and you still have one of those old guys sticking around that's still really good and showing he can hang up there with them, which I think is awesome for the division. You have all these big names, these new guys coming up, or you have all these new guys coming up that are making their name, and then you also have a big name in there mixed in like Kamaru Usman to make the division more interesting. You have Buckley, you have Machado Gary after that, you have Michael Morales, and a little further down the rankings, you have Kevin Holland, who when he's locked in, he's a really good fighter at welterweight. He had a split decision with the champion. He is coming off a win against Vicente Luque. What else? He knocked out Buckley. That was at middleweight though, I think. I'm pretty sure it was at middleweight. He had a close fight with MVP, but all his other fights, if you look at him, let's look at it. Kevin Holland at welterweight is a dangerous guy. He just beat Gunnar Nelson. He just beat Vicente Luque. All of his terrible wins, or all of his terrible losses are at middleweight. The ones where he looks terrible, like he didn't train. I think there's something about cutting weight and doing a whole fight camp that makes Kevin Holland like lock in, and he actually tries harder in his fights. Like he's got a good streak going on. At welterweight, we've seen him finish Ponzinibbio. We saw him finish Chiesa. We saw him go to split decision with JDM. He was in there with MVP. It was kind of a bad performance. But besides that, Gunnar Nelson win and Vicente Luque finish that he just had. He's a great fighter at welterweight, great person in the division. And I think they should do Buckley versus Holland 2, an exciting fight at welterweight division soon. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think it's right. I think it's gonna. I think we're gonna have some bangers, especially if you get Islam coming up there. That's gonna shake things up, make that pretty interesting. That adds a whole nother level to that division.
I forgot to talk about that.
You didn't even mention that.
I didn't talk about that.
What do you even else is there to talk about there? Like if Islam moves up, he fights JDM.
Great fight.
I mean, that adds a whole nother level.
You have big fights with Islam. You could do Islam versus whoever's number one contender after that. You could do Islam versus Usman if Usman puts together another win. You can do Islam versus a lot of guys in there, and it'd be super interesting.
Yeah,
I like it. I also want to talk about why the competitor for this division is probably lightweight. Lightweight's always, if we're looking at skill wise, it's probably featherweight or bantamweight, but lightweight's always been the biggest name division. It's the one that people always talk about as the best division in the UFC. But you have Islam leaving, and you have Arman Tsarukyan. Charles Oliveira, I think there's a solid chance he retires this weekend against Topuria. I think if Topuria finishes him in the first round, there's a chance we never see Oliveira fight again. I think Justin Gaethje's going to retire within a year. I think Dustin Poirier is going to retire this summer. And then you really don't have that many young guys in this ranking that are like coming up. Like if you look at the back of the rankings at welterweight, you got a bunch of young guys that are coming up. If you look at it at lightweight, you got Michael Chandler. Like, what are we talking about here? I think lightweight's kind of deteriorating a little bit. I think Topuria going up is going to add a lot of value to the division, but yeah. And then featherweight, it just doesn't seem as exciting as it once did. You got Volkanovski as champ. I feel like it's not as exciting having him a champ now that we've seen him kind of lose a bunch, and then now he's kind of back. But Topuria's gone from featherweight. Max Holloway's gone from featherweight. Like, it's not as exciting as it once was. There used to be like these big three names there, and two of them are gone. And then bantamweight, it's kind of like just, I feel like the interest is kind of gone right now because we're kind of running out of people that could beat Merab, and you're like, who's gonna do it?
Yeah.
Everyone that we thought could do it, Umar, O'Malley, they lost. Jan lost. Like, Sandhagen, people don't seem that too excited about it. I know like a lot of hardcore fans are, but like, there's not a lot of hype. Like, people are like, oh, Sandhagen's the guy that's gonna do it. There's not a lot of people like that. What do you think?
It's just tough when you have a champ that. I mean, I guess now he's bringing in submissions. He's going to start maybe getting some finishes, and that's going to bring a little more excitement to it. But it's tough to get excited when the champ is just pretty wrestler heavy, pretty just grind out a win, just shoot 50 takedowns in a fight kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then when, the person you think is going to do that is kind of a similar game plan.
Yeah.
Umar. And yeah, I mean, the top three, beat O'Malley twice. Beat Umar, and Umar thought was going to be the guy. Yan, Peter, whatever you want to freaking call him. PY we'll call him as PY.
Nice.
Had to defend 50 takedowns in one fight and did not look great. So it's pretty tough looking at that. Sandhagen, I don't know. Sandhagen tries to make these videos on social media and tries to make his like skit vlog stuff. Yeah. But I don't know. There's some exciting guys.
I just don't think it's as exciting. It's still a top 3. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not. I think welterweight's more exciting right now.
It just kind of looks like Merab is going to run this division for a pretty long time. Doesn't really seem like there's any real threat approaching at the moment that we're aware of, and it kind of looks the similar way to the heavyweight division now that John Jones has stepped away and Tom Aspinall is now the undisputed champ of the heavyweight division.
I think depending on how active Aspinall wants to be, he could go down as he will go down as the heavyweight GOAT 100%. There's zero competition right now. There's no one in this division that even comes close to him. There's only two fighters in this division that actually have any skill whatsoever. Actually, I'd say 3, and he's already beat one of them. I think the only 3 fighters that have any sort of skill in this division are Gane, Volkov, and Jilton Almeida. Those are the only 3 threats to Aspinall. And the Shamil Ghaziyev. This guy's coming up. Once he gets in like a top contender fight, that's going to be a really exciting fight. I think they need to put him up against like Curtis Blades or something. Like, throw him in there, do anything to get these contenders, the contender, like as close as you can to the title, because there's zero competition. Like, the only guys relatively close to the title that would even be like a decent fight to watch are Gane and Almeida, and Volkov's coming off the robbery loss. And he already lost to Aspinall, so you can't really sell that fight. So Pavlovich already lost to Aspinall, you can't really sell that fight. I really think Aspinall could probably defend this belt like 4 times a year. And within like 2 years, 3 years. You remember that post of that person that they tracked the heavyweight defenses?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The heavyweight belt is never defended. It's always like a once a year. The heavyweight belt is very, very... You had Francis who didn't want to defend the belt. You had Jones who didn't want to defend the belt. There's just a history of heavyweight champions that are super slow to defend the belt. And I think if Aspinall recognizes that he's got no competition and just racks up these wins, he's going to become the heavyweight GOAT within a year. maybe within 2 years he may become one of the GOATs. One of the GOATs of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think he just kind of wipes the division and just kind of keeps going.
I will say, though, it kind of sucks for Aspinall with what I just said about him being the GOAT of everything. Is I don't even know if that's attainable with the competition he's fighting. He's fighting terrible competition, so you can't build a really resume off the fighters that he's fighting besides like just going in there, finishing them all, like it's
Just
whatever.
having a crazy win streak.
And he can't move up a weight class. So like the two biggest things I feel like for resume building he can't do.
Yeah, can't really become a double champ or a 2-division champ.
Would you like to see Francis come over? What do you think? Do you think that gets done? Do you think that?
I don't think that gets done.
Yeah, that's pretty. Dana hates him.
Dana hates Francis, and I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
At all.
All right, my last prediction. I think there's a lot of hype behind Kayla Harrison right now, but I really think that Nunes is going to come back and knock her out pretty early on in that fight. And I don't know what the betting odds are for that fight. I don't know if they're out there anywhere, but I'd imagine that people are going to put Kayla Harrison as a favorite just because Nunes has been retired and Kayla Harrison just got the belt back. People have just seen the UFC version of Kayla Harrison. But if you look at her last, I don't know if it was her last fight in PFL, but the one before where she lost the belt, like, she's a very beatable fighter if you can keep her on the feet. And Nunes is one of the greatest of all time. I think she can keep this fight on the feet, and I think that she can knock her out pretty early. And because Kayla Harrison's striking is not good. It's not, for the women's division, it's probably good, but if you're competing against an actually good fighter like Amanda Nunes, you're going to get smoked. And I think Amanda Nunes will keep her on the feet, use her size, use her power, and knock her out in the first 2 rounds. I think she'll probably defend it once, just because what's the point of unretiring if you're just going to fight once? She probably needs some money, if we're being honest. And probably defend it once, then retire again. So, yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Kayla Harrison is a giant man, okay? And that works.
That works
until
pretty
you
well.
fight another giant man.
Yep.
And then suddenly, you're not that good.
Suddenly, the playing field has been even.
Suddenly you go from a 7-foot-tall man beating up 12-year-old girls to you're just a boy versus a man. I don't know.
It's man-on-man action.
Amanda Nunes stepped in the octagon and was the exact same height. I don't even remember
She
what
was
it
bigger
was.
than her.
Yeah, was she even bigger? She was bigger than her.
Yeah. It's a man versus man fight. And one of the men knows how to fight. One of the men actually.
That's what happens.
Kayla Harrison's a great grappler. She's got no striking. Amanda Nunes is one of the greatest She is the greatest female knockout artist of all time, except maybe I'm trying to think of other female knockout artists: Jessica, Andrade, Joanna, Rose. I think Amanda Nunes is way better knockout artist than all of them. Cyborg. I'd take Nunes over all those girls. Maybe Whaley's up there too, but Nunes is a better knockout artist than all of them. Yeah. She's going to go in there. She's going to smoke her.
On a completely different note, Chimaev finally going to get a shot at the title.
Yep.
Fight DDP. Do you think he wins it? Do you think he becomes the champ? If so, do you think he defends it?
I'm not decided on that fight yet. I think it's a really close fight, and I think a lot of the hardcore MMA fans know that this fight is really hard because Chimaev's got a thing going where if he doesn't get that first round finish, he's gonna slow down a lot. He's gonna gas out, and it's just how long can you keep up with that before he catches up to you? And the middleweight division, it's not that skilled of a division, so I feel like he can, if he gets the belt, he's probably fighting his hardest matchup, which is the champion. I feel like he might have it for a little bit just because of the skill base of the matchups he's fighting.
How's DDP's gas tank? 'Cause I feel like he was kind of crashing. He
was
kind of gassing out against that Adesanya fight. I forgot what round it was, but I feel like pretty early on in the fight, both those dudes were dead. But he was able to fight through it.
DDP looks like he's gassed out. That's his thing. In every single fight he's ever had, except just maybe a Strickland fight. Yeah. Because I think there's something wrong with the septum. Is he had a deviated septum. but he always looks like he's gassed out. But he pushes a crazy pace and he can sustain it. He just looks like he's like. It looks like I was sweating in the garage. Question is, you're basically asking how many of the high level guys you think Khamzat Chimaev can finish in the first round, or maybe the second round. And I think honestly that's a lot. If you're looking at the takedown defense of these guys, Whitaker probably has the best takedown defense of all of them, and Khamzat Chimaev just finished him in the first round.
Yeah, I think the biggest question really, if Chimaev actually makes it to this fight, and if this fight actually happens, and then if he does win the belt, if he does make it happen, does he make any defenses happen, or does he get stripped? I kind of feel like, my prediction, he makes this fight happen, he wins, and then he gets stripped.
He doesn't defend it.
He doesn't. I don't know. He's
always pulling out.
He's always pulling out fights.
His immune system is super weak. He's always sick.
Yeah, or he retired him. No. Does he?
Retire?
I don't know. Hasn't he like kind of retired before because of his health problems?
Yeah, but I mean he's healthy now. But yeah, I could see. I didn't even think of that aspect of it. But yeah, they could strip him. He's a very inactive guy. I think it's just tough because it's tough to say if he's gonna defend the belt because his hardest matchup's the one he's fighting right now. I think the two matchups that really give him problems are like Brauho, someone who's really strong on the ground, and DDP, who's someone who's really strong on the ground, has a really good gas tank, and has that striking. I might be picking DDP, honestly. So this might all be irrelevant. But
yeah. No, I mean, honestly.
I like that you brought up that factor, though.
He just looked gassed, man. I mean, Usman took that fight in, like, less than a week.
Yeah.
And if there was one more round, he's probably finishing Chimaev.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Gas tank is problematic. He looks freaking massive at whatever weight he's sitting at right now.
I think he'll be able to get a takedown in the first round. And probably second round. But I feel like DDP is just going to turn it into a dog fight. DDP wins by he'll be taken down, but DDP wins by like going into his guard, kind of like surviving the round, maybe getting taken down the second round, but scrambling, using his grappling to survive, and then turning it into a dog fight later on, brawling, throwing in some body kicks. Yeah, I'm probably taking DDP, honestly, and that's interesting. Looking at the future for DDP, that is he's probably the greatest middleweight of all time. One of them, if he beats Chimaev. Like, all respect to Silva, but DDP might already have a better resume than him if he beats Chimaev. You got Sean Strickland, you got Adesanya, you got Whitaker, and now you're going to have Khamzat Chimaev. That'd be
a pretty crazy streak right there.
Yeah.